Okay, oh my god, I'm huge. Jesus Christ. Well, that makes sense because this is just gonna be me talking for like an hour. So I don't mind this. So, what is everyone? Welcome to the stream. Hope you guys are doing okay. Oh god, it's been a bit of a hectic few weeks for everyone. Especially if you live in the UK, but whatever. So, today marks a special day of me doing weekly streams, if not more. Because I'm kind of like, cause I'm still playing Fallout 4, it's taking me forever to get through the game, by the way, absolutely ages. So, what we're basically going to do is every time there is a last episode, HBO Max, I will be doing a review, kind of like this. You know, just me talking, spewing out words. Maybe this is mainly for my own context and like, fucking like 5 years. Well, I can look back and go, oh, this is what I thought of the TV show, because boy do I have some things to say. And they're mostly good, actually. I can't describe to you how nervous I was, because I couldn't go on like any social media yesterday at all, because I knew there'd be spoilers, because even though I played the game, I know it inside and out, I had this one little thing, you know, this tweak that maybe there'll be a spoiler in there because of something I haven't seen. I want to witness everything for the first time, and yeah. So I've literally wrote down notes. These are notes. I also listened to the podcast by Troy Baker, and he along with Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann said some interesting things. So I kind of want to just highlight those as well, and just overall, just really get into the nitty gritty of what this season is, because I feel like it's going to be amazing. So, first thing off was, I want to set the scene. So, this was yesterday, so I watched it yesterday because I couldn't watch it on Sunday because I'm in the UK and therefore everything premieres later and I was asleep, and also I wanted to watch it with my mum because I wanted to get two perspectives on this, because me being an absolute die-hard fan and my mum who's heard me talk about it loads but doesn't really know what's going on. So I kind of wanted to, just two perspectives and see how she reacts and how I react, and I think I was the one reacting mostly because I was just so hyped. Like, literally I was like shaking the entire way through. I was so like excited, and it felt so surreal just to see everything painted out. Yeah, so I watched it late last night, and I mean, come on, like, so I can't even think about this. So I was looking at the podcast, and I'll probably go now into how like they actually created the show, because on the podcast it was Troy Baker asking about the production of the show, and basically Neil Druckmann and Craig are basically going about how they both met through Shannon Woodward, who, if you guys don't know, plays Dina in Raptors Part 2, and she's also on Westworld and all sorts of things, and obviously she and Neil have quite a relationship, so basically they introduced each other because they both wanted to meet, mainly because Craig was a giant fan of The Last of Us, and Neil Druckmann had watched his show Chernobyl, which is one of the best of all time. I want to say personally, I've not really watched a lot of it, but in his personal perspective, it was like the creme de la creme, So they met up, and they basically, Craig had got an offer from HBO Max saying, we look at all these video games and pick which one, then we'll make it, kind of thing. So I'm looking over here a lot, and I do apologise for doing that throughout the entire stream. That's mainly because I can't actually see myself. So, well, I might move the camera actually. Shit, it's gonna be a terrible idea. What am I doing? Right. Right, so you can... Oh my shit. Oh my god. Right. Please stay. That's what happens when you improvise. Shit. Give me that. Alright. There! Oh my god. Ah! You can actually see me now. Yeah. Alright, so I'll just be looking up into the thing a bit now. That's fine. So, yeah, they were really talking about it, and basically they're both in that room, and they said, let's go over to HBO Max and just pitch the show. And so Neil Druckmann stated it as basically Craig just like retelling the story of The Last of Us, but like he was saying how he's never really seen it being he got really emotional, like seeing it being portrayed and being pitched by someone who'd played the game and loved it. And honestly, I think we all would do that. Speaking from I think we'd all just love to just pitch it to a TV studio. So HBO Max took it on board and they said, "Yo, let's go make it." So I remember them also wanting to. There was a whole huge thing of the intro. So the intro is probably, I was surprised, but also like it was one of the surprises where like I was like really happy that it happened, because if you went into the show, obviously haven't played the game, you'd know all about the cordyceps fungus and you'd know all about how it originates in different stages, and but people who don't, they would have gone really headfirst into it. And also we've have so many dramas about like with COVID, and then with like other TV shows which involve like walkers and Walking Dead, and Fear the Walking. I'll go back to Fear the Walking Dead because I feel that I want to discuss the parallels between those a bit more, because honestly, I saw it. So, the intro was absolutely stunning. Like, I think when Neil and Craig were initially talking about it, they wanted to do the Planet Earth thing. So, because the cordyceps fungus originates from a BBC Earth program called Planet Earth, in which they described the cordyceps fungus by David Attenborough. Oh. Yes, Auntie, yes, this is the one with Pedro Pascal as Joel. Yes, it is. So, oh my god, I can't even do things properly now. What am I doing? This is like really like just me just rambling for like an hour. I apologise. Yeah, so when they originally wanted to do it, they wanted to kind of have that as the beginning, but I feel that they were like 4 weeks from shooting the end, and they were basically like, this isn't really going to work. And so Craig had actually pitched the idea of the interview style in 1968, like at the start of the project, and then at the end, they finally decided to do it, and they got John Hannah to do it, who, if you guys don't know, plays Jonathan in the Mummy movies, because I grew up on those films, and I was so excited to see him playing it, just a small part, just I was excited, and it really got you into it, like, because for me, like, it wasn't something that was said like in like 2000, because they changed it from being 2013 to 2003 to mix with 2023, which is, I think, is really cool. And I like that because it kind of showed how most things with us humans, in a way, we identify our problem. So in this case, he's identifying that there are these funguses who could, potentially adapt to human hosts based on temperature of the Earth, aka global warming, and it's one of those things in which we do every single day. Like, take global warming for example. We acknowledge it's a fact, then we like ignore it, like passively ignore it, just to not think about it. And then when it does happen, like it is now, we're now all panicking in a way. And I feel that that's exactly what they wanted to get at. Having, giving this speech a long ass time ago, like, what is it, 40 years before it actually kicks off, just to give us that kind of, like, that thing of, like, and it would have felt really awkward if they did it, like, in 2000, because, like, oh, it's on the horizon. No, it's something that we've been aware of, but we just haven't taken, not seriously, we just haven't really thought it would ever happen, and so we've not really taken any measures to, kind of, counteract it, which I feel is very, crafty. It's very crafty, and also the setup of it. You have this fun talk show, and then it gets really serious. I'm sitting there going, oh shit, this is about to go down. And also, for me as a returning player, it was something that basically went, hey, this is going to be a giant ride. It's not going to be your average, retelling act for act what happened in the game. It's going to be some new shit, and the new shit we got was quite a lot of Sarah, which I was very pleased with, very pleased with, mainly because we never actually really see her. She's only in it for like, she's a very impactful character because we play from her point of view and everything like that, but we were only with her for about 20 minutes at the start of the game, and having her for 20 minutes in the TV show feels like a lot longer for me personally, because it's only 9 episodes, so quite a lot of time I spent with her. And also there were some details there that just made my heart smile. Like, her room was, the entire, like, Miller house was perfect. Like, you had, like, the guitar downstairs, you had her room which had photos of friends, and that you actually see the card. There's a card of the that she gives to Joel, or she forgot to go to Joel in the game, in her room. It's a really nice little Easter egg there. And the first time I saw them together, I was like, yeah, this is it. You know, these are the two, because they just flow off each other so well. Pedro and Nico, honestly, huge congrats to Nico for that part. She literally ripped my guts out for him on the floor. Like, come on. But I love the dynamic of spending more time with this before, because from the get-go, you know something's wrong. You have this 20 minutes of building up to a point, or maybe like half an hour, you build up to the apocalypse and her death, Sarah's death. And I find it's really, I mean, my mum's never seen the game, and she was sitting there, she was tense the entire time. Like, I'm not talking like, you know, oh, this is a bit tense. She got to the parts where she was like hiding behind her hands, like, tell me what's happening, because it was intense. Like, one of the things I liked was there was hardly any music in the first half of the build-up. So there was hardly music during the meal between the family, and then her to school, and especially in the bit where she picks up the knife, because that's like one of those little things where you don't actually know what's going to happen, but it might come in later. So obviously when she picks up the watch and she gets the money out, she then pulls out a knife which is engraved with some kind of like some flowers, and I'm like, the fuck, you know. So, and also Craig and Neil said there are some things that, you know, you should pick up on those. So that's one thing, so I've just been like, right, that knife, there might not be anything, but I'm picking up on it, because you never know what might come about. And this is where the parallels to Fear the Walking Dead comes in, because I've watched the first 5 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead, like, back to back. I know what happens in the other 2, but I've, like, fully committed to watching it. And season 1 is so good because the build-up to the outbreak in the first episode is really similar. And the fact that we follow a young girl, she's got, well, she has problems at home, and then she's at school, and then you slowly see things start happening in her school, and then she goes back home, and then that's where the shit hits the fan. And I love the kind of, like, small parallels they have there. Because, well, obviously, you know something's going on from the first moment, as we all do with these post-apocalyptic shows, but the way they do it is good. And I think that's mainly due to the point of view we're seeing, because even when it's late into the night, when Joel has to go pick up Tommy from jail, which is new, and I quite like that fact, because Tommy has a much more involved role in this show, which, it's good. It's good. So, I got off my train of thought now. I need a drink. I'm going to be talking for so bloody long. It's going to be kind of, like, sad. Alright, I need to get my notes up, because I have, like, a full-on notes. And I think it's also to do with the neighbours as well, because I'm not sure in Fear the Walking Dead there were neighbours, but the neighbours in the Last of Us game and TV show played a massive role. So, in the we don't really see the neighbours in the game, and I think that's mainly because we're following purely Sarah, because we're literally playing as her, whereas in a TV show you get to have loads of different point of views, loads of different perspectives of the same situation, and so we have more time to play with that, you know, that neighbour, and how it progresses, and how the cordyceps then has a host. Because what I find funny is you wouldn't normally suspect a little old woman to have this cordyceps fungus inside of her, and the fact that she looks to be like you know, catatonic, the fact that the fungus is able to get into her brain and fix the problems of it being like catatonic, or maybe having Parkinson's, or, you know, mobility limiting, you know injuries, not injuries, like problems. The fact it's able to contort that and control it to its own will is fascinating to me. Like, I was like, and the part in which Sarah's come home from school, has gone to the neighbours, and that entire thing is tense because the woman is just off. Like, from the moment I think it's the daughter of the old lady gets up and starts helping, you know, bake the cookies, and then Sarah goes into the living room and then is looking at for the Cousin Viper 2 DVD. Oh my god, I can't even bloody speak now. Like, Jesus Christ. I need a bloody drink. This is actually getting annoying now. And then you saw her move in the background. Oh my god. Wow, is it because I'm not moving my controller? That's a bit screwy. I'm not actually going to play anything, I'm just going to talk, so if you came to the gameplay then I might do it at the end, just to prove my point. But the way that she was like contorting in the background, it's like Thriller 101. That you know something's behind you and the audience is like holding their breath. My mum was like doing this the entire time, trying to, she did not want to know what happens. But luckily everything was fine until the evening. And you get that thing, oh god, I'm trying to think now of how to put this. It escalated so quickly, but it was, the escalation was, it felt natural. Like, because in some TV shows, it can be either too drawn out or it can like change like that and you're like, whoa, what the hell is going on? But because it's been slowly building up to it, when it does get really fast and you are like moving along, you have to pick up things really quickly, you feel like you can, because you have like something to go on. You have, oh my god, it spreads, you know, you don't know how it spreads, but you know that it can infect people turn into these like monsters, and then you know the stakes, so you know that when they're driving off and when they're going through all the different streets, you know that, you know that they can't stop, and when they do finally crash, all hell breaks loose. And I feel that the way they would do the crash and when the aftermath is really well done. So obviously I find it funny because they don't get hit by a car. Joel tells Tommy and they actually skid out of the way of the car, which I find was quite funny, because like, oh, we're you know, even slightly just subverting our expectations of the gamers who played the game. I find that's really nice. And then it got hit by, I think it was like a propeller from like the plane that went down or something, and like knocked the car over. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't really care. It's not important to me, but I like that they switch it up. So even like the small things, some small details that you wouldn't really like, oh, in the game, like, oh yeah, obviously they go down, then the car crashes into them, and then, you know, black screen. I like how that, you know, it's a different way of telling the story, but it's exactly the same, if you get what I mean. Then we come to Dara's death scene, which is heart-wrenching. I cried. I rewatched it this morning. I cried again. I'm an emotional person. But the acting, it's top-notch. I mean, I'm going to say this throughout the entirety of this review. Acting, they cast the perfect people for these roles, and I could not be happier with the choice. Well, we'll get to Bella Ramsey in a minute, because I know a lot of people were dissing on her, and I'm like, you don't diss on my English actress, you know, you don't do that. That's wrong, you know. So I'm really happy that she fulfilled her role. Anyway, the death scene is just, if you've seen the game, you know what happens. You know how it plays out. But I feel the chase is so much tenser, because obviously it's tense when you're playing the game because you're looking forwards. You're physically there with Joel, pushing him to go forwards. But I feel that they were able to recreate that intensity by making the runner seeming such of a threat. The fact that it literally was like, it ran, it had no control over its body, it just went full speed and nothing else. It was crashing into walls and, you know, doors and then falling over things. It really put the stakes. I was like, oh shit. Like, someone who's played the game a lot was like, oh, they actually gonna make it out of this? Like, are they gonna get tackled? Like, I don't know. But, and I liked the small I'm sorry from the military man before Tommy kills him. Because he's like, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, pew. And it just comes over because it seems like he has no emotion. And I feel like giving it that bit of character is a slight insight into what the Fedra then becomes. This force that you're kind of meant to hate, but then they might not see themselves as the ones, as the bad guys. I mean, that's what happens a lot in The Last of Us. You don't see yourself as the bad guy because you see yourself as the hero of your own story. And that's especially true of Joel and Ellie. Especially Ellie, and especially Joel. Just both of them. So, alright. as I was saying, oh my god, my throat is so dry. Ahem. Ahem. Wait, what am I doing? Right, so then we go 20 years later. So, I was very confused at the very beginning. I was like, why are we following this child in the woods? But the symbolism of it is quite impactful. The fact that it shows so much of the 20 years later without actually having to have like a recap. Because in the game, you have the credits, and then you have the voiceover of the radios as things slowly get worse and worse and worse. And then but instead of doing that, they actually show parts of it, like minute little scenes. So we have the hanging is one of them, because in the table it says 5 fireflies were hung, or demonstrations broke out following the execution of 6 more alleged fireflies. That's the caption in the radio. But in this we actually see it. We literally see the stage, the people, the rope, and the person basically executing them. And it's just a small thing, but it really encapsulates how brutal this world has become. And then we have the child, which was infected, and it's important. I thought that was very important, not only to establish the cruelty of the world, but also to establish an important point for Ellie, because Ellie is infected, but she's not in a way. And the fact that they had to introduce the tracker in a way that, because they couldn't do it in the video game, because in the video game you see that for the first time when you're walking around the quarantine zone, and you see people lined up and they're checking them for the infection, and when they do, they kill them using a lethal injection. But they do it here. I feel like it's better with a small boy or a small child, because you see the innocence of this world being ripped out of the child, just like you saw with Sarah. Her innocence was literally killed because she's dead, and this one was like ripped out of him because, you know, he was infected. Maybe his parents died and he's just wandered far and aimlessly. And also another thing I noticed was the quarantining, how long it takes. I'm kind of worried for Tess now, because Tess is bitten on her neck. Does that mean that she's going to turn in 5-10 minutes? I don't know. So we'll have to see. I was looking at that and I suddenly thought, oh shit, what about Tess? But we should be fine. She should be okay. Oh my god. So yeah, and also the when we do finally see the woman from Fedra basically telling the boy that, you know, it's going to be okay, it kind of humanizes them and Fedra in a way, because in the series we only see them a few times, and they're just known as people who run the quarantine zones and, you know, look after the children, train them to be military personnel. It's not like they're not really seen as much of anything, and I like how we kind of like we humanize them a bit more here, because like I said earlier, everything in you know, everyone thinks they're the hero of their own story, you know. So alright. And by being a child, when we then finally see Joel when he's like 56, he got old real fast. He's not like 28 like he was in the game, or 48. He's like 56. I was like, it's not that much older, but I like the difference. Oh my god, I can't even bloody speak now. This is getting very tiresome on the throat. Yeah, and then we just see this change of Joel through this kid, and the fact that the woman who's also with him can't, you know, is dead. She can't do it, you know. But he's like, no, he just effortlessly does it, and maybe yeah, it just shows his transformation, like a split second, just showing how he's just changed. He's not the man he once was, and we're trying to figure out who that man is throughout the entirety of the season. So this is followed on by the drug scene, which gives us an insight into the third episode, which is going to be mostly about Bill and Frank, because Bill and Frank are the traders who trade between Joel, who smuggles it into the quarantine zone for them to get what he wants and also to give it to the population. That was a bit of a nice hint. There's a few more hints to Bill and Frank. There's a big one at the end I was actually thinking about with hysteria, but I'll get there. drug trade. Sorry, I'm going completely off track. My mind and my throat is literally like dying. I was gonna say, that's really it for that drug trade. There's not really much. It's just a nice incense, you know, putting who Joel is as a person, and putting up another storyline for later on during the episode, at the end minutes. And then we get introduced to Tess, who's played by the lovely Anna. I can't pronounce her last name. Torov? Is that it? Torov? Anna Torov. I can't really pronounce it, but God bless her soul. God bless it. Like, I feel like she's the entire like concept of Tess is an interesting one. Personally, I do enjoy her, but I don't feel that she was prominent in the game, but I feel that we didn't see that much of her. But I feel that Anna really brings us to life. Just in the first few minutes when she's speaking with Robert, she's like this hard survived, brutal ass woman who knows her shit. But ultimately, they're still under the. It shows how then when oh god, this is terrible. I apologise to everyone watching. When the fireflies blow up the thing and then she comes out, just taken away by the fireflies, it just shows that even her, she's got fears. You know, she's not this ruthless masculine who could. Well, she is. She's a ruthless person who could get away with a lot of things, but don't tell me you aren't scared of death, kind of thing. And then we have Ellie. Praise God, Bella Ramsey. I'm sorry. I really love her as an actress. I've watched her in quite a few things. Game of Thrones, The West Witch. If you're English, if you're from the UK and you have BBC iPlayer, she plays The West Witch. It's a TV show I really did like the first seasons. Unfortunately I got a bit too old and I stopped watching it, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It's like that little like preteen thing that you watch when you're like 17. It's actually pretty good. It's like the next step for me. Oh shit. It is 2 o'clock, woman. What are we doing texting me at this time? It's alright. I loved her entrance. It definitely her and Marlene together. Because in the game it's more like here's this child, take her. It's sort of like no, she's got a purpose. You know, we've got a connection to each other. And the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fuck you is also brilliant. It just shows her character in like a minute. It shows her that Bella Ramsey was the perfect fit for Ellie, and anyone can find me on that. I mean, I've only seen one episode, and I'm saying that. We'll have to see. Well, we'll have to see if it continues throughout the entire season. It probably will. It most likely will, but I think she was the perfect choice. And the fact that the other fireflies don't really know what's going on, and it's actually Marlene that has to go, right guys, she's immune, let's take her somewhere, you know. It just thumbs up. I've actually started naming these now, because when I was watching it this morning, I was like putting scene by scene what the scene was, and I actually started naming them with like funny things, so I'd actually remember. So then we have when we see Joel and Tess for the first time. Not for the first time together, but it's after Joel then goes to the radio guy and says, hey, I'm going to go look for Tommy. Where is he, basically? Where is he? I feel like that's an interesting divergence that they've done, is the fact that they haven't leaped into the, you know, where are my guns kind of thing, because in the game that might make more sense, but in a TV that wouldn't have worked. The fact that they want guns, like what for? What is it? You would have had too much time to play with, so they just went for where's Tommy? Because also Tommy was a bit more prominent in the prologue. That by cutting him out completely here would be a bit weird, and it shows that they're still very much brothers, but they're really not, because he's with the Fireflies and Joel's not the Fireflies. I feel like that dynamic was not really played up too much in the game. It's more like in the part 2 we get a few hints from Dina and Ellie about, you know, Eugene and Tommy and how their relationship to the Fireflies is built. It's going to be nice to see how it changes. Alright. So once we get that, we then have Right, we have the factions music, which comes in when Joel is mapping out. Like, that's just really like warmed my heart. The fact that they used a lot of the original score throughout the entire thing, and I love that. But to have the factions music, in which I hear like quite often, just like, it's great. It's really good. It's really good. And also like they kind of did confirm like Tess and Joel having like a more romantic relationship. It might have been something small, but just when Tess got into bed, she wrapped around Joel and they fell asleep like that. I thought that was pretty much an indication from the team going, hey, they're a thing. Stop it. I'm trying to watch something. And then I did like was the conversation after that's become a very underrated scene for me. Not from, obviously I liked it in the game, but in this it was given new weight. The fact that Craig was talking about how it was Anna's first day, and she did that scene. He was like, she's perfect, just pretty good. Because it really showed the dynamic between Tess and Joel, and how Tess was the brains and Joel is just this. He's like almost like this Frankenstein-esque thing that, you know, follows orders, and she gives him a command, you know, because when she says, I told Robert that you wouldn't hurt me, that you wouldn't hurt him, but I want you to hurt him, you know. It's kind of like she says, right, do that, and he'll be like, right, I'll just fuck you up, kind of thing. It's nice. So then obviously they decide to go and get the battery back, because the battery is what we need to fix the car, which is what they need to then go and get Tommy. So, and the fact that he's already in Wyoming is I'm not sure if Joel knows about like the extent, or if we know the extent of what Jackson is at the moment, because it was going to take a few months to get there. But I don't know. I feel that they might change Jackson a bit, and how the Wyoming section. Obviously, they're going to change every section a bit, but I feel that section's going to be. I don't exactly know how it's going to work, and I'm quite excited. I quite like not knowing. And when it went after the credits, it was like, nope, next on the last episode. I was like, no, we're not watching that. So I don't want, even though I know the game, I don't want to spoil the little things. So then we get to the wait, no, I'm going wrong right now. I skip forward a bit. So then we have the Ellie and Marlene talk, which I very much liked. I very did. They mentioned Riley for the first time, and if you haven't played the game, you're like, who's Riley? Who is this person? And the fact that Ellie got quiet after that, she was like, you know, was Riley a terrorist? And then Ellie gets quiet, and then she says, why can't you just let me go? There's something there, but if you haven't played the game, you're like, what is it? And we're like, yep, we know what happened to Riley. We don't talk about it. So okay. The fact that the mystery about her immuneness, her being immune, even though it's kind of like discovered in the first episode, the fact that even Ellie I got a sense of like even Ellie doesn't know what's happening to her. She doesn't know she's immune yet. I feel it's only once Marlene talked to her off screen that she found out she was immune. Because from the way she's talking, that I don't know, it gives a bit more mystery to it. Even though the mystery is resolved very, very quickly, it's very much like, I don't know what's happening. No way. Even the person themselves doesn't know what's happening to them. It's only like Marlene. And I feel that that'll pay off more when we get to the end and Marlene is there at the Fireflies in mind blank. I don't even. Oh my god. Oh no. Salt Lake City. Thank you. I'm not very good at math or geography when it comes to America. Okay. Okay. I live in the UK. I don't know the 50-something states. I don't even know the bloody counties of the UK, whatever, it's fine. I feel that'll pay off more, because obviously we had Battles Part 2, we were back then, we were talking between Marlene and Jerry, that built a bit more context, and I wanted to see more of Marlene like that, and we got that, which I was very happy about. So then we have the journey to the safe house, and I feel that we got to see the first clicker stalker infected thing to the wall. It looks really nice, it really does. But I think they did change the fact that they're not using spores anymore, they're using like tendrils, like that, like I don't know what they do. Just tendrils. I don't know, they you know, burst like spores, but they're not like actively in the air. I don't know. See, they've changed quite a few things, so I'm sitting there going, I know the story, but I don't know like everything, that every little detail that happens in it. which is nice. So they move forward, and then Joel and Tess get to the base in which they thought Robert was at, when actually it's the Firefly headquarters, in which we finally have the meeting between Joel and Ellie, which is pretty hilarious if you ask me. I feel that it's going to become a meme. The fact that when they're walking through, Ellie suddenly opens the door, and then Joel just throws her into the wall, which is just like... If you haven't seen it, it's like a 3-second clip of just like repeating that. It's hilarious, okay? It might be me being really like stupid, but I thoroughly enjoyed that 3 seconds of her just slamming into the wall. Anyway, there was a bit more because we've seen Marlene and Kim and Ellie in a bit more detail of their relationship. It's a bit more to the handover. It's not just like, oh, you know, if you go to the Capitol building, then you'll get the guns and be on your merry way. It's like, no, we have to do this urgently because people are already here, and it's because in the game, once you realise that there's actually no one coming after you, once Ryan says we gotta go, what's it gonna be? I want to see those guns. You know, it's a bit of lack of urgency there, which is fine because it's a game mechanic, but I like how there's not got much time. They're both feeling out. Kim's lost an ear. She's shot. Marley's been shot, and they're like, right, you gotta just fucking go, Ellie. Which is nice. There's a lot of underrated scenes in that. That was one of them. I feel like nearly every scene is not an improvement, but it's just as good as the game, which is a very high standard. Very, very high standard. And then we have the Your Watch is Broken scene, which is funny because I wanted to involve the hand radio more. So the hand radio that Ellie finds is from Bill and Frank. 60s being, you know, nothing to report. 70s being that there's new stock, and 80s being danger, obviously. I like the interaction there because it shows off Ellie being very, very her smartness. Not smartness. That's not a word. It is, but it makes me sound dumb. It shows off the intellect. There we go. Which I find to be very. I don't even know what I'm really saying at this point. I like the scene. Okay, it was very good. I forgot what the song was. What she says. Never mind. That's fine. It is 2:00 where I am right now. The conversation that Ellie and Joel have when she's when she's talking about outside, I find it's a bit heartwarming because she's rattling off all his questions, and you can tell by her voice that she's at least nervous. She's probably a bit scared because she's never been outside before. But Joel has like this fatherly instinct to instantly comfort her, so he's basically just answering her questions. He's a very stoic guy, but he suddenly starts answering her questions like, you know, it's gonna be fine and whatever. Which I find is a nice little touch. So then they finally do get outside, which I was like on edge the entire time. Mostly because I knew the episode was coming to an end, and I was like, please don't end. I want this to continue, you know. But then when we get to the part where they're outside, they've been captured, and then when Joel kills the guard, the most underrated scene of the entire episode for me, personally, because it shows parallels between Joel and Sarah and Joel and Ellie. Obviously, Ellie doesn't want to get killed because she's infected, so she stabs the guy, and then Joel is standing between her and the security guy, and he has literally a flashback. I mean, sometimes we have flashbacks in scenes. You ever seen the Korean dramas? They have loads of them. Or even Chinese dramas. I watched a Chinese drama yesterday that was full of like callbacks. I was like, wait, I don't need to know this. I know that you can't have any friends. Just shut up. It's good series, by the way. I won't say Min Vic because it's a bit cheesy and you guys think I'm dumb. But in this was a literal like PTSD flashback. He was literally just seeing his daughter being in danger, and Pedro Pascal here, the emotions that come across his face, that like fear before that absolute rage, and he just beats the shit out of him, was spot on. But the thing that intrigued me the most was the parallel between Sarah and Ellie. Obviously, there are differences because of the fact that Sarah was born pre-apocalypse and Ellie was born post-apocalypse. But similarities still apply. The fact that when the old lady came out of the house and Joel had the wrench and he literally like headshot her with the wrench, she went down. Sarah was like, fucking like, you just killed someone, bitch, like what the fuck? You know, she was scared and panicking. But Ellie was like leering in a way. She was actively watching him beat the shit out of this guy, which is such a small thing to do, both by the actors and through the direction of the characters. But I feel that it speaks a lot for the type of person Ellie is, and it gives them a bit more in common than just of like, I've lost a daughter, you're my daughter's vicar, you know, we're together now. It gives them more of a layer, like they're more like each other than they think. With obviously Joel losing someone and then becoming this hard, gritty survivor who will do anything to survive, and then Ellie, who probably is in over her head because she doesn't really know what's going on, but still has this instinctual urge that most people of the apocalypse have, and I find that beautiful. And then we have the Never Let Me Go, which was the end credit song, which was on the radio just before the episode ended. And I think this is acknowledged in episode 3, because in episode 3, we're going to focus a lot on Bill and Frank. Their relationship, it might be like half of that, half on that. The episode's like the same length as this one, because episode 2 is about like an hour-ish long, and then it goes back to being an hour and 20 minutes. So maybe we'll get an extra maybe the entire episode might be it, or maybe like half the episode will basically be Bill and Frank. Because, spoiler if you haven't seen the video game, Frank dies. So, I want to see how that plays out. And the fact that the Danger, the 80s song for Danger from Bill and Frank, maybe it's Bill telling Frank, or Bill telling Joel, hey, I'm in trouble, I need help. Or, you know, I've lost someone, I need someone. I don't know what it is, but it's a very good indication that some shit's gonna go down. So, like I said, I haven't seen any of the other, like, the coming up next, because I kind of know what's coming up next, the story, and also I don't want to be spoiled. But, whew. And also, I was looking at the podcast, that song is gonna be replayed at a later date, because it's one of those songs in which not Naughty Dog does, in which you have a double barrel meaning. So, the tempo of the song is quite happy. Even Take On Me to some extent is a happy tempo lyric, like Take On Me, do. You know, it's got that rhythm that you instantly like, but the lyrics are not so pretty. In Never Let Me Go, it's about drug abuse, or just taking drugs and, you know, being on a car ride, maybe, I don't know. I was just listening to the podcast and it was saying something about that, and I was like, they do that quite a lot. They do not video games, but like just Naughty Dog. They would just like try and do that. It's like, thank you for doing that. Thank you. Like Etta James is, oh my god, why have I gone back on the name of the song? So the name of the song which Eddie and Riley danced to in Left Behind. That's originally by Etta James. I Got You, Babe. I got you, babe. I can't sing for shit, so I apologise for that. But it's one of those times in which something really happy is going on, so you know something's going to go wrong. And then it does, and then the song is continuously playing through the bad shit. Which is a nice touch. A very nice touch. But it just makes everything seem more creepy and more, like, terrible, basically. I think that's it. I'm just looking at my notes for the podcast. Yes. Alright, so what they also talked about in the podcast was the inciting incident, so in which sets the game off, which changes Joel, basically. Because we're following Joel throughout even though Ellie technically becomes the protagonist at the end of the game, and maybe at the end of this TV show, it is ultimately Joel who we start with. And the incident in which drives him throughout the story is, when you ask people that, they were saying that people would say it was Sarah dying. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's meeting Ellie. Meeting this person who you don't know, but yet you do know. The fact, you know, this you know how to act around them because you were a father, but then you don't know how to act because you're this grizzled survivor who cannot be a dad in a way. And I like the parallel that especially Neil Druckmann made between those two. Very nice. Actually, I want to check up 1968 for a minute. I thought that there's an important historical date. 1968. News. What happened there? Looking at the UK. I thought I was had some weird thing sexuality was abolished or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's gonna be. Oh god, I'm so freaking tired. Right. So, what I was thinking. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna end stream here because I need to talk to my nana because she was calling me throughout this entire stream, and she probably needs me to do something. Which, honestly, I don't care. But I feel like if I make this too long, when I go back, I'll be like, "What the actual fuck are you talking about?" kind of thing. But yeah, I'm so excited for next Monday. Actually, no, I won't talk about it now because I'll save that for a later date when we talk about the next episodes because I don't want to tell it. I don't want to say it unless I'm right or in case I'm wrong. Because I'm a bit on the fence about it. So I'll talk about it next time. So thank you everyone for joining me today. Thank you for oh god, Antique for being in the chat, and I am so dying of lack of water to my friends. So yeah. I hope everyone enjoyed the episode. I sure did. Absolutely loved it. I'm not one of people who gives ratings, but it's one of the best things I've seen in a very long time. And I was saying, I've seen quite a good few things recently. I've rewatched Sweet Home. If you guys don't know what that is, Korean drama. It is good. It is good. It has one of my favourite Korean actresses in, which you guys probably won't know. So I'll just live with that. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens in the coming weeks because if it's anything like the game, I'm gonna be really emotionally wrecked. So, I'll see you guys next week. Have a good day wherever you guys are, and I'll see you guys in the next one.